What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Ultra League, running a double fighting and poison backline with Sneasler as the safe swap and Toxicroak as the closer, and to cover the weaknesses to the psychic and flying typing, I'm going to be running Steelix in the lead with the new charge move Psychic Fangs. Now just note that this Steelix is a level 40 Steelix because I'm going to be using it in the Ultra League Premier Classic Cup that should be out by the time this video is live. Now of course this means the team is triple weak to the ground typing, but I got super fortunate and that in the 4 sets that I did with this team I only saw one Swampert, and that was the final battle with this team, so I got super lucky there, and it actually meant that I did really well with the team. I actually went 4-on-1 3 times and I even got a 5-0 with this team, so just shows you that when you avoid one Pokemon in the meta, a team can seriously dominate. And with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What's the most successful ABB style team you've built where both B Pokemon share the exact same typing? Let me know in the comment section below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a wall rain, so I am going to safe swap into the Sneasler here, and I'm met with a Cresselia right off the bat. So this is exactly how I want this team to function. They're actually going to go straight for a Grass Knot, meaning I don't have to shield this up. I'm going to go for an Aerial Ace here. A pro tip, close combat, even though it's resisted, is going to do a lot more damage than Aerial Ace, just because of how bad Aerial Ace is and because of how good close combat is. And I go for the Aerial Aces hoping I can get to a third one, but unfortunately I'm not able to. So if I went for the back-to-back close combats, we also would have given the Cresselia a lot less farm, as we would have lowered our defense. So definitely a misplay by me there, but it doesn't really matter. We can come in with the Steelix here, and even if they get to 4 Grass Knots, we should still be able to tank all of them. They're going to get to a third one here, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to be able to Dragon Tail them down, and I am able to. I'm now going to instantly swap into the Toxicroak here. I don't know what their third Pokemon is. It's a Snarl, Alola Muck, so Toxicroak is a core breaker to their Walrein lead and the Alola Muck in the back, so this is really good for me. I'm going to resist everything that this Muck throws, so I no shield the first charge move. I'm going to go for a Mud Bomb here just before they reach the next charge move. We get the shield from my opponent, and they are going to be able to get to another move, so at this point I will shield up. They go for a Dark Pulse, that's fine. They're going to come back in with the Walrein. I go for a CMP tie here on this Sludge Bomb with the Icicle Spear. My opponent lets it go through, and at this point we should be in a very good position here. Gonna shield up the Icicle Spear, switch back into the Steelix, go for a Psychic Fangs. This will lower their defense. We even get a shield from them, and now I can go for a Crunch, and this will do more damage. Now we've debuffed their defense, and one more Dragon Tail is enough to take out the Walrein, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Nidoqueen. Now this is actually going to be Home Slice Henry's team with Nidoqueen in the lead, Tackle Greedent as a safe swap, and Scrafty in the back. Now Nidoqueen does have that ground typing. Earth Power hits for a lot of damage, but these Poison Jabs and Poison Fangs are going to be triple resisted, so we're still in a comfortable position here. We're going to go for the second Psychic Fangs here, and we actually get a shield from the Nidoqueen. They switch into the Greedent, so I come in with the Toxicroak. I can let this first Body Slam go through, but if they get to a second one, that will be pressuring my shield. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb here, as it does do more damage up against the Greedent, but unfortunately we barely don't take them out, and now we're actually going to have to use a shield in this matchup up against a Greedent, which is insane. Definitely if that Greedent was running the Bullet Seed, then we wouldn't have had to shield there, so Tackle is definitely a good upgrade or a side grade for that Greedent there. But fortunately Toxicroak is a core breaker for the team, so they are going to have to go for the Earth Power there to take me out. They switch into Scrafty. I've got the Sneasler here. They don't have any shields remaining, so I'm just going to farm up to 100 energy or thereabouts, go for the close combat up against the Scrafty. That should easily take it out, and then we'll have a ton of energy loaded to throw into the Nidoqueen. So I farm up to 100 energy, going for the close combat here. We take out the Scrafty. I'm going straight for the close combat up against this Nidoqueen, and this barely doesn't take them out, but one more Shadow Claw does the job, and I'm able to take that game. Into next game, we lead into a Shadow Dragonite here. Now, this is actually a little bit more tricky now because Dragonite does have access to Superpower, which would do massive damage to the Steelix. So I shield it up. They come in with a Shadow Scizor, and now I'm realizing that this is Jonkers' team with the Shadow Dragonite, Scizor, and the Escavalier. Now, they come in with the Scizor here. They could have Iron Head, so I do shield it up, and I correctly call the Iron Head there. Going for a Mud Bomb, not sure if I can farm them all the way down. Probably could have got an extra couple of counters through, so I think that is a misplay by me. But at the end of the day, I'm only going to be able to get to one Sludge Bomb, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. They come in with the Dragonite, they shield up the Sludge Bomb, and yeah, I don't think we would have made it to a Mud Bomb there. So maybe we could have gone for the back-to-back Mud Bombs instead, but I don't think it matters too much. We have no shields remaining. They're going to go for the Superpower. It does huge damage. I expect them to switch out straight away, and they do. I can go for a Close Combat just before they get to a Drill Run. Close Combat does huge damage to the Escav here, and now this Drill Run will easily take me out. I can come in with the Steelix, get to a Psychic Fangs. I'm really hoping this KOs the Escav here. And it barely does, and now I can Dragon Tail, farm down the Dragonite, and I barely just win that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Even with a bad lead, they made it super close because of that Dragonite with the Superpower. Into next game, we lead into a Togekiss, and now this is tricky because even though we're a Steel type, we're hitting for double resisted Dragon Tail damage. And it is fortunate that we're actually running the Psychic Fangs here, because if this was the old Steelix with Earthquake and Crunch, everything would be resisted by the Togekiss. Now they've farmed up to enough energy for a Flamethrower, so I will put my shield up, but it's just an Ancient Power bait, so that feels really bad because that's double resisted. It wouldn't have done anywhere near enough damage to take us out, and now I have been counting, this is just an Ancient Power, and you see it doesn't do an awful lot of damage whatsoever. So we do take that matchup, but we go down a shield. I come in with Sneasler here, my opponent farms up waiting for me to throw the Close Combat, but I'm not throwing straight away. I go for an Aerial Ace, and this is actually the position we want to be in because Toxicroak can easily handle the Obstagoon in the back. So I'm going to go for another Aerial Ace here on the CMP tie. My opponent realizes they lose CMP, so they actually just go for the Shadow Claw, farm down, and that is okay by me. I'm going to come in with Steelix. We barely don't get to a Crunch here, but this Dragon Claw is resisted, and I don't think a Shadow Sneak would have taken us out anyway. Crunch takes out the Giratina, and at this point, there's nothing my opponent can do. They don't even farm up to the Hyper Beam, so I can safely no-shield everything here from this Obstagoon. They go for a Cross Chop, it's resisted. They go for a Night Slash, it's resisted. They get a boost, it still doesn't matter. We can easily farm them down and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead Steelix into an Alolan Muck, so that's a very good lead for us. They switch into a Giratina, and we're just going to stay in because we actually have two Pokemon that deal with Alolan Muck fairly comfortably, and actually the Toxicroak is probably one of the hardest counters to it. We're going to go for a Crunch here up against the Giratina, and at this point I'm just going to commit to fully Dragon Tail farming down this Giratina. So we're going to be in a very good position here. They go for a Shadow Sneak. They're going to be able to get to one more Shadow Sneak, but I can comfortably tank that, and I should be able to Dragon Tail, farm them down with one more fast move. They come in with a Virizion here. I'm going to go for the back-to-back Psychic Fangs, and then I should be able to just switch into the Toxicroak. There's no point letting them farm me down because both Pokemon are hard responses to the Virizion here. I come in with the Toxicroak. They're going to come back in with the Alolan Muck. We're going for a Mud Bomb. We get a shield from my opponent, and I don't have to shield anything yet still. They're going to go for an Acid Spray, so I let that go through, and that is perfectly fine. These Poison Jabs still aren't doing an awful lot of damage to me. I go for another Mud Bomb. We get the final shield from my opponent, and at this point, they're going to have to go for a Dark Pulse to take me out. But I call the bait. They go for an Acid Spray once again. I'm going straight for the Mud Bomb. This will take out the Alolan Muck, and now I'm going to switch into my Sneasler here, and I'm actually still not going to shield anything. I want to win this match with 3 Pokemon remaining and both shields remaining, and I'm able to. So GG's to that opponent there. Unfortunately, my team composition was just superior to theirs. And into the next game, we lead into a Sylveon. So similar to the Togekiss, we have have to stay in, but unfortunately we're not doing very much damage at all with these Dragon Tails. I'm going for the Psychic Fangs straight away, but this time I will build up to the Earthquake here to threaten a potential shield. We go for the Psychic Fangs once again up against the Sylveon, and we do get a shield, which is nice. They switch into a Victini with Confusion. Now there's no way I can swap out of this matchup, so I'm just going to have to stay in, but the Sylveon in the back is going to be a bit problematic since it's farmed up a ton of energy and does have those side shocks to throw into my back line. At this point I realised they farmed up to the back-to-back V-Create, so I expect him to throw instantly, meaning my Shadow Claw damage goes through without me taking any confusion damage, and here I'm able to Shadow Claw, farm them down before the damage even registers. So if you watched my previous video, we desynced a ton. This time my opponent is desyncing. Here I realised that I can't shield this up because they are very close to a second side shock, and I was correct there. They're at the second one. This would do huge damage to the Toxicroak, if not take us out. So I'm going to overfarm here as much as possible. They come in with a Togekiss, and this team just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. They've got a Charm lead, they've got a Charmer in the back, and then they've got a Confusion as a Confusion user as the other Pokemon. That just makes no sense whatsoever. But we do lose that game, so GG's to that opponent there. Bit of a crazy team composition, but I wasn't able to anticipate it, and they're able to take me out. So into the next game here, we are going to safe swap into the Sneasler here, and they come in with a Dragon Breath Charizard here. They throw just before I get to the next charge move, so very good timing by my opponent. I'm going to use one shield, go for an Aerial Ace, and hopefully my opponent gets greedy with their energy and I can get to another charge move, but no, they're going to throw straight away, so I'm happy to let this go down. I'm going to come in with the Steelix, and they shouldn't be able to get to a Blast Burn, so we should be able to just Dragon Tail, farm them down. And I'm right, they're not able to get to the charge move. They come back in with Obstagoon, and they're core broken by the Toxicroak here. We're in a really good position. We go for the Mud Bomb. It's super effective damage, but unfortunately it's non-stab, and Mud Bomb isn't a very hard-hitting move, so that doesn't take out the Registeel. I'm going to go for another Mud Bomb just before they reach to the next charge move, and my opponent does shield it up, and they're able to get to another charge move here. So this Zap Cannon does huge damage, but I come out with a Sludge Bomb loaded. My attack has been dropped, so I'm going to switch into the Steelix, and I'm actually just going to lower this Obstagoon's defense by a couple of stages here, going for the guaranteed defense drops here. That way I can make sure that the Sludge Bomb will definitely take out this Obstagoon when I come back in with the Toxicroak. We go for the second Psychic Fangs, we lower the defense by another stage here. They're going to go for a Night Slash, they're going to be able to get an attack boost and farm me down, but it doesn't matter, we win CMP, and this Sludge Bomb with the double defense drop is easily enough to take out the Obstagoon, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Scrafty, so I'm going to safe swap into the Sneasler. My opponent is staying in for a while. They try to catch a close combat, but they switch into Jellicent, and with this significant and energy advantage, we can actually flip this matchup, which is perfect. I'm going to go for another Aerial Ace here on what I believe to be a CMP tie with the Jellicent, and if they go for a Shadow Ball, which they are going to go for, we correctly shield it, and they're not going to be able to get to another Shadow Ball, so I can safely no shield this Bubble Beam. Bubble Beam does hardly any damage, and I can Shadow Claw, farm them down. I'm down a shield, but I have the switch advantage, which was necessary for this team composition, because now they come in with a Nidoqueen. I can go for these Aerial Aces and do some nice chip damage, come back in with the Steelix, and there's no reason for me to shield this Steelix up because it is dead weight up against the Scrafty. So I'm going to let this Earth Power go through. They switch. No, they don't. I'm going for the Psychic Fangs. Hopefully I can even get a shield here into this Nidoqueen. Now they switch, I can come in with the Toxicroak, and at this point I'm in a very comfortable position. They're going to go for the Foul Plays. It doesn't do very much damage at all. I'm going straight for the Mud Bomb up against the Scrafty. They let it go through. They're at another charge move, but I'm going to safely no shield this Foul Play, completely counter, farm down this Scrafty, and at this point we should be able to get to another Mud Bomb if they go for the Poison Fang, which they do, meaning I get to it here, and this will get the final shield from my opponent. And at this point we're in a very safe position. I can go for that Psychic Fangs here, and this will easily be enough to take out the Nidoqueen. and I take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle here, we lead into a Swampert. So once again, gonna safe swap into the Sneasler. We're met with a Cresselia. So once again, a bit of a tricky situation, but this is exactly what I want from this team. I want to bait out the Cresselia. I go for an Aerial Ace. They're going to go for the charge move. There's literally no point in shielding this. They go for the Moonblast. It takes me out, but now I can come back in with Steelix, go for one crunch, and then just commit to a full Dragon Tail farm down. They're going to go for the Grass Knot here. Once again, we've seen it only does about 20% of our health, so we can comfortably tank even 4 Grass Knots. I'm going for the crunch. It puts them into the red, and now we can just Dragon Tail, farm them down, and come out with a ton of energy to threaten the Swampert in the back, because it's not really going to want to tank too many Psychic Fangs. And now we have the back-to-back Psychic Fangs here, going for the first one. This is unshielded, but the second one will definitely get a shield from my opponent. And it does, and now I can come in with Toxicroak here. They have farmed up to the Brave Bird, so I will respect it here. And unfortunately, it's just a Night Slash, but we use the shield anyway. They come in with an Articuno. I'm going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb before they have a chance to debuff me, and my opponent lets it go through. Now I can CMP tie with the Icy Wind, go for the Mud Bomb, and even though it's double resisted, they have to start shielding at some point, and so they do shield the Mud Bomb. They go for an Icy Wind here, and now I'm going to overfarm and then switch into the Steelix. My opponent comes in with the Cresselia. We had the exact same thought there, and now I'm able to go for a Psychic Fangs, and this should be enough to take out the Articuno, and I take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead Steelix into a Dragonite. So once again, this is a good lead, but the superpower does make it super close. We're going to come in with the Toxicroak here to counter this Registeel. Go for the Mud Bomb. That does not that much damage, but we should be able to get to another Mud Bomb before this Registeel gets to the Zac Cannon, and we will overfarm as much as possible. Unfortunately, we do have to throw the Mud Bomb here, and Mud Bomb does take out the Registeel. They come back in with Dragonite. They don't get too much farm because the Toxicroak was low, but I will shield up this charge move. It is the superpower. They switch. I instantly swap as well, anticipating that. They have a defense form Deoxys. Now this is a bit problematic, but I get off the Aerial Ace, and at this point I realize they have to go for the Psycho Boost if they want to take me out, meaning they're going to debuff their attack. So Steelix is an absolute wall now, especially now they've debuffed their counter damage, because all their charge moves are resisted and their counters aren't even doing much damage, even though they're super effective. They're going to go for another Psycho Boost here, and I'm just going to overfarm, wait for them to come back in with the Dragonite. We're going for a Psychic Fangs here, really hoping I get a shield, but they no shield it, and they do get to another charge move. Even if this is just a Dragon Claw, it's going to do more damage than the Psycho Boost, so I do shield it up. Go for another Psychic Fangs here. It's a bait. They call it, but it doesn't matter. We're going to be able to output enough damage with our Dragon Tails to take them out before they're able to take me out. And even though they get to another charge move with this Deoxys, Psycho Boost just isn't enough damage, especially with the attack drop, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent, and into the final battle I did with this team, we finally see a Swampert, and at this point I don't even have a clue what to do. I'm just going to stay in. Steelix is super bulky, so we will tank this Hydro Cannon. We're going to go for a Psychic Fangs here, lower their defense, and then swap to try and catch the next Hydro Cannon on my Toxicroak, and I'm able to. We switch into the Toxicroak because it is a bit bulkier than the Sneasler, although it is a bit of a misplay because now they can come in with their Talonflame, and I actually need to shield if I want to get off this charge move damage. And also Talonflame is a bit of a core breaker to this team as well, but it is a little bit easier to handle than the Swampert. But on the same team, that's pretty much just game over now for me. I'm going to come in with the Sneasler here. They are going to throw straight away, so I will shield this up, farm up to 7 Shadow Claws, go for the Aerial Ace, and then try to swap out and catch the next charge move on my Steelix. So I do throw just as they're getting the energy for their charge move. I switch into the Steelix. I'm able to catch the charge move here. Flame Charge takes out the Steelix, and now I'm going to overfarm here, but unfortunately I'm just so low that this Swampert can comfortably Mudshot farm down the Sneasler and take me out. So we do lose that game to the Swampert lead, as I probably expected to, So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future and you're not yet subscribed, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that way you're notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we got Now Cross, who says they built a rank 2647 Shadow Zapdos for the Great League, used an elite fast TM, spent 120k dust for the second move, fully built it for a theme team they had in mind, the Triple DOS theme team with Ariados in the lead, Shadow Gyarados as the safe swap, and Shadow Zapdos as the closer, and they ended up going 1-9 in 2 sets, but they had a lot of fun, and that pretty much just sums up the kind of stuff that I try to do, and I can definitely relate to that. Next, we got JCL, who says a 0 IV Rhyperior for the Master League. They built it out of need because at the time Rhyperior was meta and it was the only one they had. That is pretty crazy to invest in a 0 IV Pokemon for the Master League, especially a Rhyperior, which doesn't see any use anymore because the meta has shifted so much since then. And finally, we got Weef, who says I have a 13-15-13 Shadow Alakazam they built for the Great League and even gave it counter with an elite TM because they wanted to play my triple highest attack team as soon as they saw it. So I really appreciate that. I'm glad that I was able to inspire people to run some really spicy Pokemon, and they're definitely getting a shout out for that. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.